So my name is Otilia Barbuta, and I'm part of the leadership team of the HP Palo Alto Women's Network. And the leadership series is an initiative hosted by the HP Palo Alto Women Networks. And this time, today, it's actually co-hosted by HP Tech Ventures team. And thank you for that, Angelo, and to Andrew Bolwell, our sponsor for the HP Tech Ventures. And really, the leadership series is the purpose of this series is to have inspiring leaders like Lou, a special guest, to come here in our virtual room and talk about her experience and help us get a little bit inspired and motivated while we all are staying at home, working from home, and navigating through these times. And just wanted to stress out that we did receive your pre-submitted questions, and thank you so much. And we did include them in the conversation. Also, you have a Q&A box where you can submit questions while the conversation will be going on. So please be engaged and type in the question in the Q&A box, and I will be monitoring it, and I will make sure that we are actually answering some of the questions, the ones that you are submitting live. And with that, I am really thrilled to introduce Angelo here, Angelo del Priore, who is partner at HP Tech Ventures, and he is leading investments and partnerships in AR, VR, gaming, and AI space. And with that, Angelo, take it over.
Thank you, Otilia. And thank you, Lou, for joining us. I'm very excited to have you here. Quick second on Lou's amazing trajectory. She runs the Fusion Fund. It's a Palo Alto-based VC fund. She's done it twice. She's actually starting her third fund right now as a continuation, which is a sure sign of success from a VC's perspective. She has 11 employees, has invested over 50 startups, and raised over $130 million. She's also outside of business, been chosen as a young global leader by the World Economic Forum at Davos, as well as been on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. Luz came to the United States, I don't know how many years ago, for graduate school at Stanford, where she studied material science, and she also studied material science as her undergraduate degree in China. So thank you, Lou, for coming. It's an honor to have you here. We've actually done a co-investment together, so that's how I found to know Lou initially. And I've always been amazed. Lou, you've played so many roles in your career, like engineer, marketing manager, founder of your own startup, another success and accolade that you then successfully sold in the healthcare space, board member. What has enabled you to kind of have success in different facets of your career? Like, what is it about you think that has helped you?
Thank you, Angelo. First, I really appreciate having the opportunity to join the discussion today. Thank you very much for having me. And I always had a very pleasant experience co-invest with you and looking at the deals together with you. We share lots of synergy in terms of the taste of the founder, company technology, and also the judgment and also mandate on the technology trend. I definitely had several kind of career transition for my past years. Actually, I came to the United States 10 years ago. So the first transition was a student at Stanford, so material science researcher, but somehow started a medical device company. So that's the first transition from a researcher to an entrepreneur. After my company got acquired by Boston Scientific, I had a second transition, which is from entrepreneur to I would say angel investor. I was doing lots of angel investment with the motivation to support my other fellow founders, especially in deep tech and healthcare sector. And then after that, another transition is from angel investor become a partner at a local VC firm. So it's a $1 billion firm. I was able to see how institution VC invest from early growth and late stage, and also give me kind of more experience to understand what I wanted to do with my career and what is the stage of type of investment I'm passionate about and meanwhile I'm good at. And then the last transition happened 5 years ago. I launched the Fusion Fund, become kind of it's more like a second startup for me, although it's still a VC firm, but I start from scratch and was able to build a firm from Fund 1, Fund 2, now Fund 3. So definitely it's a very interesting journey. I also got this type of questions from other people as well, that if people look at my past experience, it seems like there's always huge jump. Well, I jump from one to another and seems not connected to each other. But actually, when I look back, I found all the dots got connected, and everything happened for a reason. That's the thing we always talk about. And I try to figure out like how did I go through it. I think one thing I definitely benefit a lot is I'm always open-minded. I'm super open-minded to talk to different people, work with different people. I remember when I first came to Stanford, my advisor, who was the dean of engineering school, Professor Jim Plummer, said he wanted us to become a T-shaped person or even pie-shaped person. So letter T means you have horizon of like exposure to all different type of no matter knowledge, industry, but meanwhile you have the depths in certain area that you build the expertise. But when we talk a pie-shaped person, another part is about interdiscipline. Always have an interdiscipline mindset that maybe you're focused on material science, but maybe there's an application for healthcare. Maybe you're working on tech, but maybe technology could be more powerful if you leverage together with the capital. So I think this mindset really helped me keep my curiosity and also give me motivation. I always talk with people with very different background from me. Then I was able to open up lots of opportunity. I definitely appreciate, I took it for granted because I'm based in Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is a very special place that was a high density of high talented people and also lots of opportunity. But I think the important part is one thing, I need to be open enough to let opportunity came to me, to be able to see it. And the second thing is when the opportunity came to me, I'm ready for it. I think for me, probably when I was young, I was too young, too simple, naive, so nothing would be too hard. So I just say yes whenever opportunity came to me. But later I found actually that might be a good thing I did before. Even maybe I'm not 100% ready, but I take the step forward already. Then yes, I went through a miserable life when I started my company, but I made it happen. I really pressure and push myself to the next stage to be ready for the next opportunity. So I think be open is really, really important. But meanwhile, definitely I'm super efficient in terms of doing things, learning new stuff. I'm a fast learner, try to learn things very fast in order to, make sure every single day I'm become better, I'm become smarter, I'm getting some new skills. I think one thing I really benefit a lot is I'm really good at learning from the people. We definitely have very good platform, no matter Stanford, startup companies, or other platform. But I think the most valuable resources for me to grow to where I am right now is I was lucky enough to work with a bunch of super talented people, and I could quickly learn from them. I just really good at learn from analogy and shadow how they work and quickly get all the key points to myself and start to, build my own mandate and the methodology of doing things. Even now, sometimes people think, oh, you're doing VC. You're not a technical, no matter within tech sector anymore. I still consider myself as a player in the technology industry in general. And the way I'm doing the investment, the logic behind of our investment thesis, methodology, it's all deep rooted into my engineering background. That this logic from the engineering training, PhD research training gave me a very comprehensive kind of thinking system for me to design my firm, design our methodology, and be persistent with it, and eventually give us very good, no matter the deal flow we pick, or the company we invested, and also the good fund return.
Okay, you've answered half my pre-submitted questions already, so thank you very much. That was great, thank you. So during COVID, is there anything in particular that you're like, okay, obviously lots of hindrances and downside, but is there something that you're able to do, like, this is going to enable me to learn a little bit more or have more time to read, or is there something that you think that others can learn from, and just like in these horrendous times?
I think for COVID, in general for the industry, I think both of you and me agree that definitely there's a challenge, but on the other side, it also accelerated the whole digital transformation. This trend have huge impact for the society, for the large corporate, and also for individual. And for individuals who could adapt to the digital platform much faster, will be able to not only maintain the operation, but also improve the efficiency of their operation, the companies, and also collaboration between different teams. But I think that's something very unique about COVID-19. And also if we look back into the history, for example, in 2008, because of the financial crisis, all of a sudden pushed the adoption of the cloud computing. So every time we have a crisis, there's also opportunity came along. I think that's very important when we are encounter these huge changes in the lives, not just looking at the negative part. Whoever could identify the positive consequences earlier on, they will be able to prepare for that and be able to capture the opportunity. For example, even for our investment, we've been active investing this year. Although lots of VC stopped investing earlier this year, But the thing is, yes, COVID-19 have created a pretty challenging environment for the founders, but whoever could survive it in the first couple months and also adapting to the digital trend or empower the digital transformation will get rapid growth of the revenue. For example, one of our company also relate to their questions. Their tool is called Otter, OTTER. Basically, the partnership with Zoom. Whenever we have this virtual meeting, they could do live transcript. So during live transcript, whatever you talk, I talk, they will do live transcript, and you could share very easily with anyone. And also after the meeting, they could do they could summarize the main highlights of the meeting and send it to everyone. So it's a very simple tool, but because of the digital transformation, it got adopted by much more people. It's not only for remote working, but in the future, once we have this tool, we could also use it more often whenever we have in-person meeting. It's like a small assistant you have with you, and meanwhile collect the high quality data every single person is generating every single day, because meeting data, most likely we speak very carefully when we have meetings. So the quality and also the content we generate from the data of the meeting is always pretty good, and also better for the matter algorithm and also the other application to use. So I think things like this is the good part of the crisis came out, really push the whole industry. Digital transformation definitely means adoption, much faster adoption of the new technology. And another thing is, for example, I've been investing in healthcare for so long. I've been working on a medical device company before. I have a passion of the healthcare. I really always proactively call out, we need to have more AI application with healthcare. We need more high quality capital to invest in healthcare. But until this year, lots of VC and lots of capital realize, we have a huge problem in this healthcare industry, which is 20% of US GDP. With US GDP of 20%, we have such a low efficiency system so far. So there are so many things we could do, and so many things could be done better. So I think that's another side of the side effect of the COVID-19, and we see more people are not only just devote resources to this healthcare sector, but also as a user themselves, they're more adapting to the new solution. For example, I think now more people prefer to have the virtual meeting with their doctor to save the trip to the hospital, and they may last longer after COVID-19.
Let me ask you another question going back to career advice that someone had asked. How do you make sure during your career that you've gotten paid equal to what men have, right? Particularly as you've done a lot of positions where it's, way more men than women, right? Whether it's in VC or in engineering, et cetera. So just in terms of advice for our folks.
Yes, I think for me, probably my experience could not really be a good reference for others, because I think I started my own business at the beginning, and then I started my own VC firm. Equal pay is very, very important, and definitely, women deserve the equal amount of pay as men. And I think for me, because I build my business myself, so I'm kind of the ultimate rule maker of the firm, because I know that definitely I could make sure inside my firm, no matter the company I build or no matter the VC firm I built, or even the company I invested, they really value the contribution, the work of the female employee or female founder, and to make sure they got enough incentive compensation to really reflect the value of their work. And also I think if anything could be referred to that, it would be we definitely need more women in the decision-making position. Because once we definitely, I totally agree. For example, Angelo, you're a great support of the female career growth, but we definitely need more women in the room in order to make the final decision, to really share their experience and also be able to really change the rule fundamentally, rather than I say lots of people try to be the rule breaker. It's important, but I think if more women could become the rule maker, or build their own business, or become the decision maker of their division, it will be much faster to make the change.
And then let's go back to that in terms of when you start up your own fund. You had some clearly relevant experiences, but as a 25-year-old, you went out and raised a $17 million fund pretty hard, obviously successfully, because now you're going off and raising more. Secrets to success, things we can copy?
I think you mean start a firm from the scratch?
Yeah, just 25, great chutzpah.
Then it never as so smooth as it sounds, right? You make it sound so simple, just like, and then I have a fund. No, that did not happen. I definitely got lots of challenges. There are many people. When I was a founder, there's people talk to me, oh, how old are you? You're only 20. Why I'm listening to you? I've been in this healthcare industry for 20 years. When I'm 25, I talk with some investor. They're like, oh, how old are you? Only 25. Should be your last job, and you're only 25 while you're doing a VC firm. Have you been through bankruptcy? Only people who went through big failure will be able to be a good investor. So out of this feedback, I heard it because of my age, maybe also my gender, and also as a minority. But I think the thing I try to be very persistent is I really highlight my differentiation. When I started the firm, the reason I started Fusion is also partially from some kind of the support from some family office I've been working with. They always want to co-invest with me when I was doing my angel investment. My investment was mainly focused on deep tech and healthcare. You've been in this industry for a long time. Back in 2013, 14, most of the capital and the VC was prefer to invest in like software solution, marketplace, social media, right? Very little capital actually went to deep tech, especially hardware, or even medical device or healthcare. But at that time, I really, on one side, based my background, I was able to have unique insights about what's going on. Another thing is I really did lots of research work about innovation cycle. Innovation cycle typically has 3 stages: fundamental tech innovation, tech application innovation, and business model innovation. The first 2 stages is like building a new cake. But the last stage, business model innovation, that's what we've been through in 2013, 2014, is to slice the cake to different players. Like we have Uber, Lyft, but they're the new player replace taxi driver. They're now creating a new market. But if we saw that market got saturated and the people are hitting bottleneck because too many players and the cake got sliced to too many pieces, then we need the next generation of fundamental tech and tech application. That's the kind of my methodology. So I kind of I did lots of work there and I really think it through, and I truly believe on that, and also keep track on also good founders I've been talked to and work with. I saw good people are going to that direction as well. The challenge for me at that time is still, the big environment is not investing in this deep tech and healthcare. Definitely there's people challenge me, oh, why do you think your judgment is right? Or why do you think we should not listen to all this big Sandhill firm? But I was pretty persistent, and also I share my logic and methodology with them. And they got aligned and feel it's very persuasive, and also very strong differentiation, I would say at that time. They barely to see a female young minority be able to raise a fund and invest in a couple good companies. I also have a couple personal track record before with my own angel investment, give me good exit. And also my focus of the sector and my methodology really makes me stand out from other GP they talk to. So they're trying to, I think probably some of them just try to give a chance to say, okay, you're so different, then let's give a chance to see whether it works. Turns out to be, it works. And 2 years later in 2017, lots of VCs start to saying that we're investing frontier tech. So that's the second stage of tech application.
Let me ask you a question then. Totally understand the technical chops, but what about the personality, right? You're doing, particularly at the seed stage angel investing, right? It's all about the team, right? Because there's no proven business model. So, and again, there are a lot of HP employees, but also non-HP employees and people working at big corporations on the line. Mm-hmm. What is it about the team that is like, that team's going to be successful, that team is going to have its, its challenges, whether you're in a startup, a medium size, or a Fortune 500 company?
Yes. Definitely, the judgment on the team is very, very critical. We definitely, VC is all about assessment of the risk level. We evaluate the market risk, technology risk, exit risk, and then the more there's one important part is the team risk. Whether founder is the people who gets things done, right? Insightful enough, experience, and whether it's a leadership enough, etc., etc. So I think for me, because I was a former entrepreneur myself, so which definitely benefit. I went through that miserable life cycle as an early stage founder myself. So I can tell, some founder, they're presentable, but not necessarily they could handle all this type of pressure, or they really have a faster reaction of if things changing up and down very quickly. Because early stage means even everything you saw this through, there will still be downturn for a company. Especially like for this year, like during COVID-19, it's a really big challenge for founder, but also it's a kind of a good test for a good founder. Good founder will react very fast, be able to handle the situation based on what's happening. But some founder, they may talk well, but they just assume things should happen as planned. But when the world turned upside down, they just feels like, okay, it's the end of the world. So I think that experience definitely helped me. And meanwhile, I also know that I'm too young. So there's some life experience I did not have, no matter how fast I learn. So I put together a team. I have all this venture partner joined me, they're like, I was joking about, they're like golden age for VC, like 40 to 50 years old. Some of them are 45 years old with very strong industry experience, former entrepreneur, and also see so many people, experience so many people, be able to have a better judgment of the human nature, I would say. I think another thing is not only myself, I think in general within my team, we really highlight the diversity, but not just the diversity about the gender, race, it's about the cognitive diversity. I was joking that I'll have a partner born and raised in Indiana, so it's a Midwestern, it's a so-called true American culture place. I'll have another partner was born and raised in US, but also went to Singapore, France, Europe, had different countries experience, and then came back to do a company. I'm from Inner Mongolia, so I was a minority in Inner Mongolia and came to United States and landed in Silicon Valley, become minority here again. So I think all this different experience gave us a pretty strong cognitive diversity, then make sure we were able to evaluate the founder from different perspectives. Sometimes I feel like it's interesting, although minority always mean that you probably have some disadvantages in the society or potentially bias, but being a minority also make individual more sensitive. I feel for me, that's the thing. Because I was a minority, I'm always quite sensitive about what's going on. I've been more observed. I will be pay more attention to details when I interact with people, probably apart from the insecurity, because I'm minority, I does not feel this is my place. But on the other side, definitely this the capability of collect all these details help us make better judgment on individual on founders. Sometimes I even joke about people that, oh, certain VC has very good gut feeling. And this gut feeling is based on their capability of collecting all the details information. It's not just something superficial, it's really based on our capability of subconsciousness. I'm in healthcare, so no, that's technical foundation. So I think a lot of these things really combine together, make us be able to pick a very good founder after we evaluate the company, etc. And the one thing I also want to highlight here is, although I was a student founder and we have a technology spin-off from university, we typically did not invest in student, graduate school founder, our professor founder. We prefer people had experience in the industry, not necessarily has long years experience, but a couple years experience in the industry, really understand the technology commercialization process. Because in Silicon Valley, you have so many companies looking for a fancy solution. But the fancy solution not necessarily means we'll be able to integrate with the existing industry quickly. So I think the founder really need to have this real life experience to understand and what's truly going on in the industry, and also have the insights, unique insights of how to deal with this problem, provide a solution powered by technology to the industry. And another thing I really think is important is whoever already working a large corporate, and then when they start a startup, they will have a clear ultimate goal of which type of company they wanted to build. For example, this founder used to work in Google. Even he built a company from the scratch at his startup, only have 5 people. He know in the future, when I have a multi-billion-dollar company like Google, I need to have this division, that division. So in his mind, the infrastructure is pretty complete, and they will easy to have a much bigger vision. I think that's very important. That's the reason sometimes we saw certain founder, yes, they will build a company, but it will become a more like a cash flow business rather than a really potential great billion-dollar exit.
Lou, so we have some questions. Yeah, we have some questions from the audience. Just want to make sure that we touch on those. So Lou, you probably have been in many, many meetings where you're the only woman in the room. And we wanted to learn like how do you manage this, and what do you think that are some factors that keep women from talking, from speaking up in meetings, and how can leaders create, better environment to actually change this?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I totally understand that being the only woman in the room is not a really pleasant experience. I also had an experience before that I was a woman in the room. Also, I was young. So probably I said something and got ignored by the meeting leader, but someone else said, it's a gentleman said exactly the same thing. And the leader said, oh, it's a great idea, let's discuss. So I think definitely there's lots of things need to improve, from ourselves and also outside to make things become better. But some technique I learned myself is, first thing is be more persistent, because yes, there's stereotype exists, but I think most, not necessarily most people have stereotype with a bad intention. It just, that's a certain way for people to understand the word. We hate labels, but meanwhile we use labels to kind of remember things and recognize people, and also compare difference and be able to build our own logic. So I think you need to use that good attention to assume that, okay, I need to be more persistent, to be sure about myself, to express myself. I feel sometimes maybe relate to that is like I have no problem people call me aggressive, ambitious lady. But sometimes I think when girls was little, we were educated that you need to be a likable person. So likable personality means that don't argue with other people's, and don't be too persistent with your opinion. Don't be a very strong opinion individual. I feel like in the business world, you gain respect by the fact, the thing you achieve, rather than be a nice person. I think being nice is important, but on the other side, if it's you need to stand up and be persistent and express yourself, and don't hesitate just because you worry that people may not like me, think I'm aggressive lady. I think once people respect you, they will truly appreciate your input and your contribution. And rather than really think about is that a typical lady will do. So I think that part is important. But I think as a leader, definitely it's very important. We need to make sure in the room, everyone will have the opportunity to be listened. So I think for me, like I also work with my partners, whenever we have discussion, like I will ask my team member to speak first, and when I speak the last, I will summarize everyone's opinion. I will also highlight people to give them opportunity who might be more silent during the discussion, to give them opportunity to present themselves. I think both sides need to make more efforts, and fundamentally, we also need to have more women in the conference room. That's definitely critical. I mean, this kind of initiative, I mean, Davos, Young Global Leader Davos. So one initiative we're trying to do is, you know, now California already put it, make it like a regulation that you need to have one woman in the boardroom. It's kind of ultimate decision maker. I said, okay, we need a second woman, because sometimes being the only woman in the room feels like I need to fight a battle myself. If I could have someone together with me, I could speak for her, she could speak for me. That would be a much better, you know, sisterhood, that we could kind of fight a battle together. But fight a battle is just the first step. I think after we kind of conquer the first step, the second step will be, you know, gain the respect, and then all other, no matter it's a female or male board member, will be welcome. All the contributors, whoever is smart and with perspective, with insight, to contribute to the, you know, discussion of the company. I think one thing I do appreciate about Silicon Valley is, yes, people have stereotype here, but once you prove them wrong, you prove that you have true value, you still got the opportunity and the window open for you. But we just need to be, as I said, when I was young, maybe I was simple and naive and just took the opportunity without hesitation. But now I appreciate I did not hesitate. And I would think, like for you guys, same thing. Don't hesitate to express yourself. It's okay.
So you've given a lot of good advice. Thank you for sharing very honestly, kind of, you know, how you've kind of, the barriers and the obstacles and how you've overcome them. What do you wish now that you're at the ripe old age of 30-something that you wish you knew when you were 20-something?
20-something, I would say one thing I really wish to know, very simple thing is, did not take no personal. I got lots of no's when I was like 20-ish, when I was trying to build my companies. People say no to me, no matter what's good or bad intention. I try not to take it personal, but I took it personal. But I think because I'm, you know, in a Mongolian, we're like a warrior. So our personality is, okay, you challenge me, I'm gonna prove you wrong. Yes, I took it personal, but I'm gonna prove you wrong. So I did not really got frustrated or upset because of our no's, but I kind of had the motivation to work better. But as you said, I'm not happy at the time, right? I feel like, okay, so many people say no to me, why it's happening? So I wish I know that earlier, but later I know that more. I think I also treated more mature. I think one thing importantly is really how to react with all this no's and other challenges in face. Maybe in a harsh way, I would call it sometimes it's useful angry and useless angry. I think for useless angry, I mean, it's like, if the angry and the emotion won't help me to change the result, I'll make things better. Why waste my energy just to be angry with it? If I did not take it personal, I just you know, focus on things I should focus on, and I won't waste my energy. I could be more efficient to really build something and eventually use the fact, use the result to show them that, okay, this is what I promised, I deliver. And I feel after I kind of adjust myself and did not take it personal, it's also making it much easier for people who ever say no to me before, but they turn around to continue work with me. So I have several people that used to say no to me or even challenge me in a kind of not nice way, in a super mean way, but eventually become a very good business partner for my company. I think that's also something I learned during my kind of growth of the experience in the past 10 years in the Valley.
I've been very aggressive and not giving the audience enough questions, but Tilly's going to ask one last question from the audience here.
Right, so the last question, because we're already at the top of our time, someone is asking, so if you could give one advice, just one advice to someone young and, you know, maybe minority or non-English speaker that is ambitious, what would be that one single advice? So one advice for someone young.
Someone young, I think for someone young, really try to make sure you're, you know, as I said, I was good at learning from learning from people around me, but how to learn from the people is you want to make sure also talk and work with very smart people. When you're young, I feel that's a good opportunity that for you to always try to expose yourself to people who are smarter than you, more capable to you, then you'll be able to really grow yourself much, much faster. And also try to find a good mentor. I think Silicon Valley has a very good culture and a legacy that lots of established leaders, they're willing to become the mentor for the younger generation. This is something I never found in other places. They try to devote their time and also their experience to help younger generation to grow. And another thing is I feel being a native speaker, yes, you need to practice the language. I'm still improving my English as an immigrant, but I don't think language itself would really decide how you express yourself. It's about the insight. It's about the perspective. So I think one side, you really think about whether you have a different perspective to share with others, and also meanwhile, don't afraid of sometimes asking stupid questions, because only if you make mistake, they will give you opportunity to grow, especially you're still young.
Super. Thank you, Lou, so much. I think you should write a book in between all your other tasks and energies. I really think you had a lot of great practical advice for people. So I really thank you for taking the time to share with us. I know you're very busy. Everyone on the line, thank you so much for joining. We'll be doing these external, not just for HP people, every month and a half or so. You can follow HP Labs to kind of look at updates on our LinkedIn profile or on the HP Tech Ventures website. Again, thank you, Lou, so much. Really appreciated your insights and time with us today.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. And feel free to reach out to me if you guys have any further questions. And if you decide to do a company, I probably should not say that here. Feel free to reach out.
Definitely talk to Lou if you're looking about startup and deep tech. She really is a wonderful investor and has a great track record and a wonderful person to work with personally. So you'd be well served by having her as an investor.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.